If you're going into the online space as an entrepreneur, you got to be excited about what you're doing, because there are going to be a lot of times when it is going to be hard. It is not going to feel easy. It is going to test you in ways that and stretch you in ways that you didn't know were possible. So find your fire first. I say, what lights you up, lights the way to your success. If you're not fired up about it, then it's probably not meant for you.
I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that'll reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. In this episode, we have the pleasure of welcoming Mara Riopelle, an online business coach, speaker, and founder of the Ambitious Mom Movement. Mara shares her personal journey from the corporate world to entrepreneurship, highlighting the burnout and unfulfillment that led her to create a movement for ambitious moms. We discuss redefining success, finding balance between work and family, and the power of asking for help, whether you're an ambitious mom yourself or seeking inspiration for your own entrepreneurial journey. This episode offers valuable insights and practical tips to create success on your own terms. Mara, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so you're an online business coach, speaker, and founder at the Ambitious Mom Movement. I really love that movement because my wife is an ambitious mom herself, and she's taking care of our four kids, and how she's managed to do all the things that she does. It's beyond me. I don't think I can ever do that. So thank you so much for creating this movement. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's jump right in.
Sure. So my name is Mara Riopelle. I just had my fourth baby, and so I haven't slept much, so bear with me. Yeah, I grew up in a small town in Canada, in British Columbia, and I had 5 brothers, and I was the only girl. And I basically grew up always competing with the boys and always believing I could do absolutely anything. And then I hit the corporate world and I rose to the top, just like my brothers. I followed in the footsteps. We've all followed in my dad's footsteps, all 6 of us. So I am now the only defector officially in the family. They're all still in the insurance business, but I was in there for over 10 years. And basically, I feel like you run on a path thinking you're in life. You think you're heading towards this ultimate goal or whatever. And then one day you wake up and you're totally burnt out and unfulfilled and you're chasing all the shoulds. You talk about that a lot.
Oh, yes.
We're not chasing what actually lights us up. We're chasing this goal of what we think we should instead of what we want. And so that happened to me. My health started failing big time. And it was a naturopath actually that said to me, hey, like, do you realize you're actually like driving yourself into the ground? And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm successful. I'm making 6 figures. I'm not even 30 yet. Like, you don't even know. And he was like, okay, whatever. But that was like the start of this journey into entrepreneurship for me, where I think I was always an entrepreneur. Like I was always setting up stands as a kid, or like creating something, little inventions of like construction paper to create something that would roll coins, like just random stuff. And I wanted to sell it. But I don't think that coming through my kind of teenage years, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to do all these things. And then I went to university and realized that I was interested in women's studies and philosophy and all these other things. And those don't really pay. And so then it was like steered back into the business world. So I was commissioned salesperson in insurance. for years. But yeah, I found myself at this kind of crossroads in my life. I would say it was before I had kids and I was just engaged and trying to figure out, am I going to spend the next 30 years chasing after this career that is successful on paper and everybody else thinks I'm crazy to walk away from it. I've worked so hard to build this up and blah, blah, blah. But I just kept having this like inner voice that kept saying, there's something different out there. You are meant for something different, meant for more. And so eventually I just took the leap. And after my second son was born, I actually joined a network marketing company, which was like my first step into the online business space. I just became obsessed with online marketing, honestly. And so that was my trial area of having my own business, really. But I also was into real estate investing. I already had a couple of apartment buildings at that time, which of course is not right now money. It's very long-term money. Yeah, I jumped in on that. That was the trajectory I got to. And then I got obsessed with online marketing. And then I was like, there's got to be there's something in me, like this movement that I wanted to create, which is what led me to the Ambitious Mom movement now, which is literally ex-professionals, a lot of ex-corporate professionals, but other professions as well, who are ambitious moms who are like, listen, I want to work a different way so I can live a different way, because moms are torn in so many different directions. And as a result, we don't actually like what we're doing in life anymore. And if you've got nothing left at the end of the day, you can't actually show up as the mom you want to be or the entrepreneur you want to be. So I wanted to create that middle ground. And that's what inspired me to start a summit series, actually, where I bring in ambitious moms who are very successful so that other women can listen in on those conversations to get an idea of which way they can go to mimic that.
I love that. So an ambitious mom, define who an ambitious mom is.
So in my world, ambitious moms are women who want to create six-figure success or higher and still have time for life. Straight up. Okay.
So well balanced, you're spending enough time at work or your business or your entrepreneurship, but also have enough time for the kids so then you're involved in their activities and in their education and everything.
Yeah, totally.
I love that. That's amazing. And the power of moms is so much more than you can imagine, because, and I'm going to take it to another route, because so I'm a Muslim, and growing up Muslim, there's a passage, or there's a story where when Prophet was asked about who has the most value, your mom or your dad, and he said your mom 3 times before the dad even showed up. And then in Islam, the path to heaven is through the feet of your mother. So that is the level of credibility, that is the level of positioning that women are given in our religion. So it's beautiful to see they are so much more powerful than we give credit or even acknowledge. So thank you so much for creating that movement.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
No problem. I wanted to do it anyways. Didn't do it for you.
I think on that note, though, I think our society teaches us to value just the money, and success is so wrapped up in money. And I think there's a space where we need to redefine success. And I think our generation, the people who are probably, I would say 45 and under-ish, like in that realm, are wanting to do life a different way, because towing the company line, it doesn't exist anymore for the majority of us. We want to be fulfilled. We want flexibility, but we also have this huge desire to be successful. We just had to redefine what that looks. So yes, we still want to bring in the income. I always say we're interested in the part-time hours, not the part-time paychecks, because as a woman, you want to stay home with your kids, or you want to do, part-time work. You're looking at employers basically handing you scraps, honestly, at the end of the day. So I'm not interested in that. I want to be paid for what my brain is still worth and my capability. And so many women are like that too. So that's
what's really powerful is, as a woman, as a mother, you're already doing a full-time job raising your kids. So now you have another full-time, you're already doing 2 jobs, so which is very admirable. And I don't know what else to say.
Well,
but yes.
So here's one thing that I would say about my community is a lot of us are very interested in having childcare help still. So for me, I always wanted, it was very important from the get-go. I told my husband, I really want our kids to always be in the home. So we have had nannies who come and take care of our kids and help clean the house and help do meal prep, because I love homemade meals, and there's all these different things, but success and that kind of balance looks different for every single household. So for me, I love to have help, even if it's 2 to 3 days a week. I've had it 5 days a week. I've had it 2 days a week. I've had a bunch of different combos. I also am a huge advocate for having delegation, because women who try to do we end up doing like a triple shift almost if we don't have help. And
Yeah.
I have a super helpful husband too. I don't have the old school traditional marriage where they don't ever change a diaper. Like my husband is amazing. And so I wouldn't say I'm lucky, but my mother-in-law always says, "You're so lucky. Reese is so helpful." I always say, I wouldn't have married him if he wasn't like that. So I don't think that's luck. I think that's a choice that we make, but he's an amazing partner. But I think there's like a mental load and an emotional load that women take on. So even if you have childcare help, and even if you have some help in your home with laundry and some cooking and some cleaning and stuff like that, and childcare, I just think that we should delegate. So when women go to hire help, I say, get some help in your home first. So that takes the pressure off of you, so that when you stop working for the day or when you have the time, you can actually be present with your family instead of rushing around to, clean the bathrooms before your mother-in-law shows up or whatever. So there's part of this ambitious mom movement is that it's okay to ask for help, as opposed to trying to be a stay-at-home mom and a full-time entrepreneur and take care of all the kids' activities and households, and not households, but like volunteer things, activities, sports, all of it. We need to let go of the reins a little bit, which is hard for us to do a lot of the time, but so crucial to being happy and fulfilled, because then you can take a breath and actually enjoy the journey and the process of parenting too.
I agree. So much of entrepreneurship is dependent on letting go of the reins and bringing in a team, because you can't do everything. Imagine playing soccer with 10 other people and you're only one on your own team. You're not going to last so long. So we need to bring in team members around us so that we can not only be successful or have a growth in our business, but also in our household.
Well, the other thing that I think that we don't often recognize, because we're so conditioned and trained in society to be the one who can do the most and be the busiest, you don't recognize how much brain power you need to actually come up with great ideas and hold space for them and enjoy putting offers together or messaging or interviews or whatever is going on in your business. You don't recognize how much value there is in actually having that extra half hour a day of time that you can actually think and create. We feel like this hamster wheel or Groundhog Day that we're constantly living over and over, where we're just running on a treadmill that never slows down. And that's not the way to enjoy your life. So
no, it's not.
Yeah.
I love that. I really like the fact that you mentioned about the load, the cognitive load. My wife tells me, she'll forward me this article about the cognitive load that mothers hold. They have to worry about what's food's going to be prepared, what the kids are going to be wearing, what they're going to take for lunch, what are they going to wear for their go to school the next day. And it's pretty crazy how true that is. And I try to do as much as I can, right? Putting the kids to sleep, doing the dishes and laundry and whatever. But still, I need to step it up a little more. Okay, let me help you with this cognitive load, or let me help with where I can. But I think it's all a work in progress.
Yeah, but you know what? I think too that there's a certain amount of the cognitive load or the organization of a family that women actually really enjoy and they thrive on it. Like I just had the email come out yesterday, for example. We're heading into close to Christmas right now, and literally there's candy cane sweater day, there's ugly sweater day, there's dress as Santa helper day, and there's PJ day with, can't remember, I think you bring a stuffy, and then there's one other, they're doing like the Christmas lunch or whatever they're doing that day, so you have to bring like a potluck item. So I have all that, and I had to put it into my phone because I'm super organized as long as it's in my phone. But my husband will just be like, hey, what's going on this week? And then I'll tell him and he'll be like, okay, sweet. But I've already arranged that. And I love being on top of that stuff. But if I'm so stretched so thin that I don't enjoy any of that, then it's not cool anymore.
It's not cool anymore. Yeah.
So anyways, there's, I think it's naive to think that there can be balance in terms of equal parts in life. But I think there's also seasons of hustle and flow. But I also think we need to be mindful of how many seasons in a row we hustle and grind, as opposed to actually taking a step back, taking some things off of our plate and enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I agree. One thing that we've employed is a shared calendar. So at one point she had forgotten her password or wasn't able to log into Apple ID. So now the calendars weren't syncing. And I'm like, what's the new time she's trying to add stuff to the calendar? I'm like, okay, don't worry. I'll put it on the calendar and when you have access to it. So we run on that calendar and it helps us stay in sync as well.
Yeah, same. I have like my work calendar on there. And then if I need him to know about it, I have to enter it again to add him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some automations that you can also use where you have your work calendar where you can add his email address as well. Okay, here's the business events, not work specifically, because I have 5 different calendars.
Yeah.
One for this, but then there's 2 calendars that are shared with both myself and my wife. And my kids are also, they have access to that one calendar. So my son would be like, okay, so we're going over here this day. I'm like, how do you know? Oh, I just looked on my phone on the calendar. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
They're in the know now. You can fight
Yeah.
against or embrace technology at this point in the world. You know,
Yes.
you might as well just use it.
Agreed. All right, sweet. We've been talking about your mom, the ambitious mom movement, about your journey, about how you got burned out, and this is not fulfilling me, and created this amazing, ambitious mom movement. What's been keeping you inspired and keeping you motivated in moving the foundation forward?
Something that I talk about a lot is finding your fire. And so in my community and in the ambitious mom movement, it's like I said, a lot of ex-professionals who are women who are like highly trained and huge skill sets in a lot of different areas. So they have that information, that experience, that knowledge base. And now they want to take it and apply it to a completely different setting, which is in the online space. And a lot of them that I work with are coaches. And so they don't know how to market their business. And that's where I come in. And so I lead by example, or I lead from the front is what I call it, which is I love, like when I talk about finding my fire, I love taking somebody's excitement and somebody's fire of their own and helping translate that into messaging and offers and a system and a framework to create consistent sales in their businesses. And so that's the part that's super exciting and fun for me. And I get to help them, first of all, come in and find their fire. That's what I always say. We're going to find your fire first, and then we're going to build everything else around that. Because if you're not going after what you want and you're still stuck in this should space, which often happens when you come into the online world, you start listening to all the noise out there and all the advice from every angle of the world. And at the end of the day, you just feel paralyzed and you get torn in all these directions and you're going after shoulds again. Like I should have a website. I should have a perfect funnel. I should have all this automation. I should have, well, how about we start with the basics and find out what it is that you love, who you want to help, the problem you want to solve, and then let's start building everything based on that. So I almost feel like everyone comes in and into this world and this online space, which is amazing because it's wide open. It's Wild West. There's no rules, but then it's also the blessing and the curse because there's no rules and there's no direction and there's nobody telling you what to do. So a lot of the time women will come to me and be like, listen, I have this amazing vision and I know what I want to create. I just have no idea can you just tell me what to do? They're like, but don't tell anyone because I'm a don't tell me what to do girl, but I just need to do. And so that's the part that I thrive on, which is taking someone's vision and helping them create the messaging that goes out into the world that actually explains what they do to other people so that they can land clients and do the things that they love to do. So find your fire is all about figuring out what lights you up, because that's the thing that lights the way to your success. And then figuring out, I call it the X factor, where that intersects with what other people actually want to buy.
Yeah. So it's almost like the Venn diagram where your passion, your knowledge, and your profit all, and then where's the intersection of those 3 circles? I love that. The cross section, what do you call it? The X factor.
Intersection, the X factor. It's like what you love to do and teach, where it crosses with what somebody else wants to buy.
I love it. My wife and I were having a conversation, and she's in a corporate job, and she's, I don't know what kind of a conversation I'm going to have with the HR tomorrow, and what should I be looking for? Do I want a VP position? I don't want so many direct reports to me because I would rather lead other leaders as opposed to other individual contributors. That makes a lot of sense because then you have more freedom on what you're able to do and what you're able to deliver.
And also probably she just likes that better, right?
Yeah, she does like that better. Yeah.
If you're lit up by what you're doing, it's easy to show up. And especially on the days that are hard and your schedule's overrun and you're behind the 8 ball, but you're pumped about it. So you're like, that's okay. I'll figure it out. That's a very different energy to be in.
It is. And sometimes I have no skills or talents. I don't know what I'm doing over here. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Let me write your resume for
you. Let me write your resume over here. What amazing things you've done. And that's so true because sometimes we need the outside confirmation. We need the outside encouragement. like what you got going on is so amazing.
Yeah.
And being somebody who's in the corporate environment, you can't really go out to other people and be like, oh my God, I feel worthless, blah, blah, blah. You need a person that's removed from
Yeah.
that space and then able to come back and tell you're doing amazing.
I think that's what coaching, there's like a huge piece of coaching, and that's exactly what it serves, is it's somebody to borrow belief from when you are down or are doubting yourself, because it's human nature to doubt yourself. Even once you reach a certain level of success, you can still run into these walls where you feel like, who am I to be making this kind of money? Or who am I to have this kind of success? Or who am I to be teaching this? I don't have, we always default back to, I need these credentials, or I need some kind of certificate to prove that I'm good at this. And no, that's not true. And I like to use the analogy of the NFL coaches. They're not all, they don't all have Super Bowl rings, but they can, if they can pull the best out of you, like out of the players, and put a team together and really make a vision happen, then they can lead you to a Super Bowl, even though they haven't actually won the Super Bowl themselves. And I think that hits home for a lot of people who are wrapped up in, oh, I need to learn more, I need another certification. It's no, can you get results for someone else? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, then you can build a business. As long as it lights you up. Don't hate it. Go to work for somebody else if you want to hate your job.
Exactly. I love that. Well,
Sarah.
Mara, Sarah. See, I call my wife Sarah. So Mara, what's amazing is that all these conversations that we're having is so close to heart, and I'm sure that listeners listening, our superpreneurs, are going to find a ton of value in what you're teaching. We'll be sure to plug in all the links to the show notes, but you also have a few hacks to share with the audience. But before we get to it, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that'll reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Hey guys, welcome back. We've been talking here on Hacks and Hobbies with Mara Riopelle. Sorry, I suck at pronouncing names sometimes.
Just say Mara.
Mara, all right. Welcome back, guys. We've been speaking with Mara on the podcast, and we've had some really amazing conversations talking about parenting, talking about business, talking about the balance of the two, and what keeps us going, motivated, and what inspires us moving forward. Mara's got 4 hacks to share. I know usually we have 3 hacks, but today we got 4 hacks. So Mara, take it away.
Okay, we already talked a little bit about the first one, which is to really find your fire. If you're going into the online space as an entrepreneur, you got to be excited about what you're doing, because there are going to be a lot of times when it is going to be hard. It is not going to feel easy. It is going to test you in ways that and stretch you in ways that you didn't know were possible. So find your fire first. I say, what lights you up, lights the way to your success. If you're not fired up about it, then it's probably not meant for you. Second thing would be, this is something that everyone talks about, but nobody actually does, in my experience, which is your market research. You have to go out and talk to real people. I have a whole framework for that because it's actually a lot easier than we think it is. But you have to know how to go and find potential ideal clients and ask them the questions, and then do not pitch them a sale afterwards. If you're going to ask market research questions, stay in integrity and actually just ask the questions. That's something that I think everybody who has a social media account has DMs daily from people that they do not want in their DMs. And that's exactly why. It's because they're bait and switching everyone. So do not bait and switch people. Go and find out what your people really want. That's what helps you with the words in terms of the messaging that will actually pull people and attract them in. The whole point of business, or the whole goal, is to attract, nurture, and convert people online. So do your market research. That's so key. It doesn't take that long, and it's crucial. The third thing I would say is grow a targeted audience. People come into my world and they're like, I want 6-figure sales. And I'm like, great. Do you have 6-figure leads? We have to be realistic. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, despite what a lot of people are selling online. You have to go plant the seeds and create an ecosystem in your business that feeds itself. And part of that is to consistently be growing a targeted audience. I personally love using my summit series for that. I think it's so crucial to collaborate with other entrepreneurs who already have the audience that may have the people in yours. And if you're collaborating versus competing, then everybody rises together, because there's going to be people in somebody else's audience that are going to hear what I say in a way that's going to completely shift for them, even if they've heard it before from someone else, and vice versa. If I'm bringing people to the table and there's other speakers coming in on one of my summits, I call them quick and dirty summits. There's 6 speakers, it's 3 hours, it's one event, one and done, one topic. And I feel if you can create that win-win for everyone, literally, you will make a lot more money, but also you will enjoy doing it way more. So that would be my third tip. Make sure you focus on growing a targeted audience. I love virtual events because they're just, that brings me to the next thing is, as ambitious moms, we need systems that create consistency in our business for us, because we're not always able to be consistent. So anyone who has tried to go out and post and pray on social media every single day, and they're like, I've been showing up consistently for months and nothing's happening. And it's, do you actually have an audience, or are you just hoping that somehow the magical algorithm is going to hand you an audience? That's not how this works. You have to go build your audience. So you can go on other people's events. You can, this is another thing that drives me crazy, is everyone says, if you want to grow an audience, get a killer lead magnet. And I think, yeah, but you still need the traffic to come through the lead magnet. And so that's why I love the virtual events for creating that you're literally creating an email list, which is an asset that you own, versus social media that you do not own. You are renting space there every single day. And it is a slog. And if you start hosting events where you are growing a targeted audience based on the title and tagline of the topic that you're covering, you will grow a following of people that make way more sense for your business so much faster than if you were just trying to be consistent with hashtags online. Like, it's night and day different. So those would be my tips. Find your fire first, do what lights you up. Number 2, please talk to real people. Nothing will move your business forward faster than going and talking to real people, which is AKA market research. I always say it's like Buckley's. It tastes awful, but it works. You know what I mean? Market research is not sexy, but it works. Go do it. And then grow a targeted audience. Because if you don't have leads, you don't have sales. You need the leads before the sales. And then the fourth thing is create some sort of a system in your business, almost like a template. Think of it as a template that all you have to do is follow it, so that you have consistency showing up in your business, even when you can't be, because life will hand you lemons and life is busy. And I don't know if you talk about resiliency a whole bunch on your podcast, but I think it's in everyone's life. And so 2 summers ago, my 5-year-old at the time was diagnosed with brain cancer, and nobody prepares you for that kind of a diagnosis. And it was like, I was so grateful and so lucky that I had built an email list, that I was already doing summits, that I had other coaches who had been speakers on my summits, like diving in because they saw me post about it. They were like, what can I do? How can I help? How can I serve your community? And it's to have, I call them biz besties, but it's way deeper than that. To have friendships truly that are created online by collaboration. Those are priceless. But that's the same thing about having some sort of system for consistency, because you can't always be consistent in your business. There was no way I could be consistent at that point. Yeah, I think we set our businesses up to serve our lives instead of the other way around. And then you just work your little buns off until it all happens.
Yeah. 100%. I love those tips, Mara. Really amazing. Having all those systems in place, having those 4 things, having the fire, the audience, and I'm probably out of order.
No, it's all good. Basically, market research helps you with your audience.
Market research with the audience, yes. So you've got the fire, the market research, the audience, and have systems in place. I love to tell this story. Eben Pagan, if you haven't heard of him, has been in the internet marketing space for the past 20 years. I got to see him at an internet marketing party last month, and he was at a party, and he saw Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. They were hanging out together. She's like, oh my God, I want to go talk to these guys. So he walks up to Bill Gates. Hey, Bill, you've created a ton of successful products. What have you learned? So Bill replies, he's not all of them were successful. But what I learned is that you build the first product and then you hire teams and you hire the product owners that build products on top of that one product that you built. And the example is Windows. He built Windows, and then the products that went on top of it was Office and everything else that survives. Then he goes up to Steve Jobs. He said, hey, Steve, you've built a lot of successful products. What have you learned? And Steve's, not all of them were successful. And then he looks up in the sky and he holds his chin. And he's like quiet. And he looks down again. He says, you've got to care. So if you combine those two things together, you got to have systems and you got to care. And now you got a killer machine that's going to build your business and move forward. So that story just stuck with me because people don't buy products, they buy people.
Yeah.
And what we're creating with our online businesses, what we're creating with what we're teaching, is we're creating this connection, this human connection with other humans that have the same problem that we faced and we solved for. And they are now part of our circle and part of our audience. So thank you so much for listening. All right. This was fun. This has been so much fun, Mara. I love it. Now we jump into the rapid fire questions. If you have a specific term for this, I would love to take it because I've been fishing.
After I'm done my session of rapid fire questions, I'll let you know if I have a better
All right.
name.
Sounds good. Number one, what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Oh, the one hobby. I want to say golf, which I like to golf, but I hardly ever do it, but I really enjoy it. And I think that takes you to cool places all over the world. So that's on my list of things to do still, is to really get serious about golf once I'm done having babies.
I love it. I love that. Number two, what did you want to be when you were a child?
The thing that came to mind first was a lawyer. Like I think I thought, I don't know if it was a child, but like certainly early on, I wanted to be a lawyer because I thought they were so smart and so powerful and they made a lot of money. Yeah.
Yes, they do make a lot of money and they have very little time.
Yes, which is why I'm glad I'm not a lawyer, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not cool. All right, next up. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
Top Gun.
Oh, yes.
100%. The original, the first one.
The original. Okay. The original was great. The second one was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was great, but nothing tops the original.
Yeah, nothing tops the original.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
You're a lifelong fan of Top Gun.
Top Gun for sure.
All right. If you are a Top Gun fan listening to this episode, drop a comment or reach out to us because we like to talk about Top Gun.
Hashtag Danger Zone.
The new movie didn't have any of the original soundtrack, because I love the original soundtrack. I'll play it and be like transported in that moment immediately. I
had the tape.
I remember the tape, yes.
And it was like, constantly just flipping it over and playing it over. And Kenny Loggins, I remember that name.
Oh my God, that's my favorite, one of my favorite songs. Playing with the Boys. All right, next question. What movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
Oh, these are hard. These are on the spot questions.
On the spot.
What movie would I want to play in? I kind of like Erin Brockovich. There's me being a lawyer again. But she's outside the box, right? She's awesome. That would be a character I'd love to play. All
right, sweet. Erin Brockovich. Next up, who is your favorite superhero?
You know what's weird? I'm not really into superheroes. My kids are really into superheroes. Superhero. I watch a lot of Spider-Man. Let's go with Spider-Man.
Let's go with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think the only superhero who has kids, I'm trying to think about it really hard, is maybe Iron Man, like towards the end, because he had a daughter and I'm doing this for her. I'm all doing it for, and towards the end, I don't know if you've seen Endgame, but he's he comes and talks
What
to
about
her.
The Incredibles? That's kind of superheroes.
Those are superheroes. Yeah, you're right. Those are the superheroes with kids.
There you go. I'd be really good at yoga if I was that chick.
There you go. Last question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
First thing comes to mind is Monopoly. There you go. There's the money again.
There's the money.
I am not ashamed to make money. There you go.
All right, Mara, the one game that I would recommend that you pick up, and I've been recommending this a lot, I should have a link to it in the show notes, is Cash Flow by Robert Kiyosaki.
I have that one, Cash Flow Quadrants.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the book, so he now has a board game around it.
I have the board game.
All right, perfect.
That's
Awesome. Thank you so much. Mara, where can the superpreneurs listening to this episode find you?
On social media, my handle is just /Mara Riopelle or @Mara Riopelle on Instagram, or you could go straight to my website, marariopelle.com.
Awesome. Well, folks, thank you so much for listening. This has been a fun conversation with Mara, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you, Mara, for your time. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode on Hacks and Hobbies. We absolutely appreciate your contribution. You can find additional notes on hacksandhobbies.com. Please share the podcast with your friends and tell them what you learned about our guest today.